Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to Topic. So, this week we are going to cover extra topics and subject areas within ancient Egypt. So, this project will take this week and next week. So, this is going to be a 2-week project. So, similar to the mummification, it's going to take you 2 weeks. So, you are going to conduct research on a variety of topics. So we have already covered Tutankhamun, mummification and the pyramids. So there's 3 subject areas that you would already know of, and we will attach the links to that information in your assignment. Today we're going to look at the River Nile. So the water. It is unknown where the water in the River Nile starts. Some people think that it originates in Burundi. They also believe the water comes from the White Nile and the Blue Nile. Both river waters come from Lake Victoria and Lake Tana. Moving the water. The farmers would lift the water from the canals using a tool called a shadoof. A shadoof is a large pole balanced on a beam. At one end of the pole was a heavy weight, and on the other end was a bucket. The ancient Egyptian farmer would pull the bucket down into the water. Then the weight would pull the filled bucket back out again. He would then swing the bucket round and empty the bucket onto his crops. Flooding. The melting snow on the Ethiopian mountains and the summer rain is what caused the flood. The water would rush down the Nile and into Egypt, where it would burst the banks and flow on to all the nearby flat fields. Some quick facts. The Nile is approximately 6,650 kilometres long. That makes it the longest river in the world. The River Nile goes through 4 different countries before it reaches Egypt. See if you can find out what those 4 countries are. Since ancient Egypt times, crocodiles have lived in the waters of the River Nile in Egypt. Most measure at 4 meters long. Next, boys and girls, we are going to look at hieroglyphs. What are they? The word hieroglyphics comes from the Greek translation holy writing. You can see examples of this writing on ancient Egyptian artifacts like wall carvings, pottery, and papyrus paper. The hieroglyphs are the ancient writing system, which uses symbols and pictures. So why did they write with them? The ancient Egyptians thought it was important to write down all the information they could about their kings and their religion. So they made the hieroglyphs to tell people in the future what happened. Hieroglyphs were one of the many ways the Egyptians would write. They mainly used them in religious texts, on statues, and in tombs. But who wrote them? Not everyone could read and write the hieroglyphs. Only a group of people called scribes would learn how to do it. The scribes would almost all be men, but there is proof of female doctors who would also read them for understanding medical texts. So how come we can read them? The secret to reading the ancient Egyptian text was found in 1799 when the Rosetta Stone was uncovered. It is called this because it was found in a town in Egypt with the same name. The reason why this stone is so important to reading the language is that it is written in 3 languages, which makes it very easy to translate. It is written in hieroglyphs, demotic, and an Old Greek text. It took scholars 20 years to translate the whole text into a modern language. Next, boys and girls, we are moving on to gods and goddesses. There were more than 2,000 gods in ancient Egypt. Most took human form, but some had the heads of animals. Here's a selection of more important gods that Egyptians would have worshipped. Ra. Ra was the god of the sun and the lords of the gods. He is shown to have the body of a human and the head of a falcon. Above its head sits a sun disk, and with a sacred cobra twisted around it. Can you see it in the picture to the left? Amun. Amun was an important god because it is said that he creates all things. However, there are not many stories or pictures of him, as he was invisible. Many of the pictures of him come from where he mixes with another god like Ra. Horus. Horus has the head of a hawk, which makes him look similar to Ra. But Horus has a crown made to look like the 2 parts of Egypt, the red and the white, to show that he ruled all of the land. Horus was the god of the sky and is believed that the pharaohs were a living version of Horus, making them godlike. Now, boys and girls, we move on to pharaohs. So, who were they? The pharaohs were the kings and queens of all of Egypt. Most were men, but there were some famous female pharaohs like Nefertiti and Cleopatra. The pharaoh oversaw the government and every temple. The first pharaoh. Egypt used to be split into two kingdoms, the Upper Egypt, known as the White Crown, and the Lower Egypt, known as the Red Crown. We know around 3100 BC, the north took the south and joined them together. This is when the first true pharaoh, King Narmer, ruled over it. Cleopatra, the last true pharaoh. Cleopatra was a born princess. Her father had ruled over Egypt for over 300 years. Cleopatra ruled with her brother, who then made her leave the palace. In 48 BC, Julius Caesar came to Egypt and they fell in love. Cleopatra got Caesar's army to take back Egypt, and they defeated her brother's army so she could rule as a pharaoh. She made a lot of money for the Egyptian kingdom and people loved her for it. Quick facts. The ancient Egyptians did not call their king a pharaoh. The word pharaoh is first used in the ancient Greek language. So actually, they used to just call them their king. Okay, boys and girls, so your task is to create 2 pages for a book. You are going to become researchers for the next 2 weeks, and you will pick 2 subject areas from the list on the next slide. We would like you to create at least 1 page per subject. So, at the end of the second week, you will have 2 completed pages. There are some examples for you to look at. Remember to include images, facts, captions, colour, and a heading. As you can see from these pages beside me, that there are lots of different ways that you can do that. So we are looking forward to seeing how you create yours. Here's the list of subject areas. Number 1, 2, and 3 we have covered in previous lessons. Mummification, Tutankhamun, and the pyramids. Here we have covered the River Nile, hieroglyphs, gods and goddesses, and pharaohs. So boys and girls, now you need to choose 2 of those 7 subject areas. You can use books, Google, family members, or any method of research to find out more information on your 2 chosen subjects. Then create 2 pages for a book that your teacher will put together when we are back at school. Your teacher will tell you where they want you to upload the image of your file as to where you would normally do it in class. If you have any questions, please ask your teachers. And here is just another example of a page of a book. Thank you, boys and girls. Enjoy, and we look forward to seeing your research.